everyone, my name is Mehek. I hope you guys are doing fine and safe. And like always, I also hope that you guys are reading. Back with another book after a short break, Diwali break. I had a amazing, relaxing Diwali with my family. For those of you who celebrated, I hope that you equally enjoyed it. In fact, I'm a little sad to be going back to our boring routine from tomorrow with no big Indian holiday or festival coming in the near future, but that's the reason we have books, to keep us happy. The book that I finished reading is The Geography of Bliss. It's by Eric Weiner. Now, I took a while to finish this book. In fact, I finished another book while I was reading it because this book is packed with such great insights. You know, it's about these 10 different countries and their behavioral and cultural aspects and some amazing facts that you come to know about this country. And I was like, okay, I need to take it all in slowly so that I don't forget. And I really enjoyed actually reading this book at a really slow pace, and that is what I would suggest to each one of you. Now coming to the book, it's about the author itself, Eric Weiner. He has basically worked as a reporter at these conflict zones in the past. Obviously these places are less fortunate and not really the happiest places on the earth, and he himself is the a not very happy person. In fact, it says here, the grumpiest man on the earth goes in search of the happiest places in the world. So Eric decides, okay, I've worked at these least happy places on the earth and I'm not happy myself, so why don't I go on the search to these really happiest country in the world and find out what's the source of their happiness, why are they happy. So what he does is he makes a list and he goes to these places, the countries. He altogether visits 10 countries. I'm going to list them out to you, or I'm going to quickly read so that I don't forget or miss out any countries. So he visits Netherlands, he visits Switzerland, Bhutan, Qatar, Iceland, Moldova, Thailand, Great Britain, India, and finally his home country, America. These are the countries he visits. So out of this, Moldova is the one which is the least unhappy country in the world, because he also wanted to know that what makes people unhappy as well. So he decides to visit Moldova as well. Now he visits these countries, so he takes us through the noon darkness of Iceland, to the solid heat of Qatar. He takes us through the finicky functionality of Switzerland. By the way, the chapter on Switzerland is my favorite. Then he obviously talks about the unpredictability in India. He basically goes and talks to the citizens and the expats, and he spends time like a week or two in each of these countries and finds out what really makes them happy. And what he comes to know that for all countries, it's altogether different reason. Of course, we know that happiness is relative. So for example, when talking about Switzerland, it's their love for nature that makes them happy. For Bhutan, it's spirituality. And similarly for Great Britain, it's not really about happy, it's about having a more meaningful life. For India, we love imperfections. We are an ad hoc country, and that is what makes us unhappy, is the imperfections. And for example, he finds out the source of happiness in Thailand is less thinking. They do not worry, they live their present and they enjoy it. So that is what makes them happy. Now like I said, he also goes to Moldova, which is the least unhappy the unhappiest country, the most unhappiest country in the world. And the reason he finds out that what makes Moldova so unhappy is that there's a common sentiment there that it's not my problem. Even if they think that the solution can benefit the entire neighborhood, but the common sentiment is that it's not my problem. Envy is widespread in Moldova. In fact, the neighbors there derive more pleasure from each other's failure than their own success. The culture is missing in Moldova. They in fact, the whole culture belittles the concept of trust and friendship. And there is no kindness or hope left in that country, and that is what the author feels is the reason that Moldova is so unhappy. So this is what the author is majorly the book is all about. And so he visits all these countries and he finds out what really makes them happy. And towards the end, it's the conclusion that is really amazing for me. So in the end, he gives these wonderful words that money matters, but not as much as we think it does, and not in a way we think it does. Family is important, so is your friends and neighbors. Envy is toxic, so is excessive thinking. Beach is optional, not trust, and definitely not gratitude. But most importantly, what makes us happy? Happiness is something that is utterly and completely connected with people. So our family, our friends, our neighbors, the woman who might who might clean your office and you don't notice, these all people. So our happiness is connected with other people. Thus happiness is not a noun or a verb, it's a conjunction, it's a connective tissue. So this is what in the end the author concludes, that our happiness is directly and utterly linked with other people. And most of the countries he visits, that's the reason why they are happy. For me, I think this book, more than the happiness question, yes, it was about that also, but I think what I thoroughly and really enjoyed is that since I have not visited most of these countries, except India, I have not visited any of these countries. It was fun, so much fun reading about them. I came across such great facts and insights, and the book actually makes you want to travel. So obviously I cannot share all these amazing facts with you in this video, but I'm quickly randomly going to read some of these facts that I came across that I think that you will find it interesting. So for example, the first one is from Netherlands. Tolerance. This is the original don't tread me on me nation. A nation where it seems the adults are out of the town and the teenagers are in charge. Not just for the weekend either, all of the time. What exactly does Dutch tolerance look like in an everyday way? 3 things come to my mind: drugs, prostitution, and cycling. In Netherlands, all 3 activities are legal. All 3 can easily lead to happiness. So he's just trying to, figure out at this point, are these the reasons that Netherlands people are always happy? Okay, next chapter is about Switzerland, which I told you is my most favorite chapter in this book. The American way is, if you've got it, flaunt it. The Swiss way is, if you've got it, hide it. One Swiss person told me, you don't dress or act like you're rich. Of course, you might have a $4,000 espresso machine in your apartment. That's a different thing. In America, the worst thing you can be is a loser. In Switzerland, the worst thing you can be is a flashy winner. So, Swiss people do not like to show that they have money. Okay, next is about Bhutan. Clearly, Bhutan's low crime rate murder is almost unheard of, contributes to the overall happiness. The government now provides free healthcare and education for all of its citizens. Now, this was something new, what I read next. Bhutan is the world's first non-smoking nation. The sale of tobacco is banned. There are more monks than soldiers in Bhutan. Sorry. So yeah. Okay. Next is about Qatar, which is all about money. Water in Qatar is free. So is electricity and healthcare and education. The government even pays a small salary to Qatari college students. Qataris aren't burdened with high taxes. In fact, they aren't burdened with taxes at all. No income tax, no sales tax, nothing. Wow, that sounds like a dream for every Indian. Next is about Icelanders. Okay, this was also a very interesting chapter because I didn't have any idea about Iceland or its people. Icelanders won't eat anything ugly. Until the 1950s, Icelandic fishermen threw lobsters back into the sea. Icelanders export cod to America, where people apparently have no issues about eating ugly things. Okay, the next one is about Iceland again. Iceland are ignorant, and that is our greatest strength. It's like walking through a minefield, but you don't know the mines are there. So you just plow ahead. And last one is obviously about India. There's another reason I think why India's poor are happier than America. If an Indian person is poor, it is because of fate, the gods, or some negative karma accumulated in a previous lifetime. In other words, they are not to blame. If an American is poor, it is seen as a personal failure or a flawed character. So yeah, these are some of the interesting things that I came across. Obviously, the book is packed with so much more, and I just kept underlining and I was constantly sharing it on my Instagram. So I really hope you read this book. It has some really great inspiring moments. It has humor. It is filled with cultural and behavior aspects. You come to know so much about these countries. It's a different thing that you really want to pack your bag and travel after reading this. But I would definitely recommend this book to each one of you. Yeah, that's all on this book. I'm going to see you guys next week with another title. Till then, take care. Bye bye.